U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris has officially conceded to Donald Trump following his sweeping victory in the U.S. presidential election. Making her concession speech at Howard University in Washington, D.C., Harris said the Biden administration would engage in a peaceful transfer of power.
The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, not what we fought for, not what we voted for. But hear me when I say, the light of America's promise will always burn bright. As long as we never give up and as long as we keep fighting.
All right, let's continue then to get more reaction on this. We're now joined by Dr. Oscar van Heerden, a senior research fellow at the Center of African Diplomacy at the Leadership at University of Johannesburg. Thank you so much for your time, Dr. van Heerden. So as we wrap the U.S. election and, of course, as the dust settles following the news of Trump returning to the White House, many are asking now what? What does a second Trump presidency mean? Perhaps let's start with the domestic U.S. issues. Americans are concerned, it's clear, about the bread and butter issues, aren't they?
Absolutely not. It's all about the economy. And I think, quite honestly, this is where the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris got it so wrong. They were playing the man and not the ball. They were not talking about the policy issues, whereas Trump was concentrating. His messaging was, it was better under my presidency between 2016 and 2020. If you want those days again, vote for me. And the people came out because the cost of living is quite high. People don't have extra cash in their pockets. The gas problem is high, and so on. And so the Trump campaign was really dealing with the domestic issues, and it was resonating with average Americans.
Just listening to Kamala Harris, she's conceded, of course, defeat, but has urged supporters not to give up. How would you characterize her race? I know you said that's where they missed the ball, but how would you characterize her race during this election? I mean, she had fewer days to campaign, unlike the Republicans, but in the main, what lies ahead for the Democrats now?
Well, I mean, I think the first lesson to be learned is that they gave the race over to Kamala Harris very late. She had very little time to prepare. And even then, she did quite well, considering. But the problem is that the stigma of the Biden administration was haunting her the entire campaign. She never came out clear as to how she would be different from the Biden administration. And I think the Democratic Party needs to do some serious introspection now, because it was a landslide victory for the Republicans. I mean, Trump has taken the popular vote. He has taken the Electoral College vote. They've now in charge in the majority of the Senate. And if all goes according to the trend, it's likely that they're going to take the House as well. And so it's going to be a complete control for Donald Trump. It's a very dangerous prospect. But this is what the Democratic Party has allowed to happen.
I mean, in the likelihood then, I mean, we know that the Senate is in the bag for the Republicans. And as you say, the House of Representatives is still, a wait and see game. But in the likelihood that that happens, what are we likely to see then from a Trump administration? Already there are some reports, are not confirmed at the moment, that there's a special counsel in talks with the DOJ in the US about ending the federal cases against him.
Yeah, no, that's going to be his first priority. He cannot possibly concentrate on being the chief commander and the leader of the country if there are these charges that are still being pursued. So that's going to be the first thing that his team is going to want to take care of, that it must all go away. Secondly, I do think, the Democrats set a very, very bad precedent. They hated Donald Trump so much that they were prepared to bend the rules, so to speak, and to take him to court for supposedly having confidential documents in his possession, whereas we know many presidents before him have done similar things. So I do think if we have to analyze Donald Trump, there's going to be, even though he's talking unity, let's put the past behind us, this was in his victory speech, I do think he's going to be motivated by a bit of revenge, because he feels what they did to him was totally unfair.